Topic today is new member benefits. Question is, and got a good laugh out of this we got a good laugh out of this. But before I go any further, if you could in the chat, name, organization. I'm assuming you're involved in membership, so I need a title, name, organization, and have you been here before? If you could just put that into the chat. All right, so here's what I was saying. We got a good laugh out of this a minute ago because new member benefits, is that new member benefits or is it new member benefits? So if you understand the difference, of course, new member benefits would be about introducing new things to your organization and to the members. New member benefits would be benefits that are specifically designed to new members or maybe getting new members engaged in your benefits. My question to you, which do you want to, let's go down one of those paths. I want to leave it up to you. Would you like to talk about how to introduce new members to your, new benefits to your membership? Or do you want to talk about marrying benefits to new members?
Right, we've got
All right.
2 votes for new benefits.
Looks like we are I'm seeing a theme here. Yep, good. All right. I think that's the way you intended it originally, wasn't it, Brittany?
That was, yeah.
All right. So as always, I like to give you guys a little update. We're not pushing membership masterminds quite as hard, but it's grown some since our last meeting, 620 members here. We've kind of settled in on the observation that this is not really an active kind of chat inside of LinkedIn. I think it's because of the way LinkedIn has their groups organized and how that works. It's just, you're not seeing this like questions pop up. So although we have 620 members, not a lot of dialogue in LinkedIn. I see it more as a directory so you guys can connect with each other. Right now, the only benefit to belonging to this is this thing. So you guys are taking advantage of that and I love it. Having said that, here's some ideas of questions that we could go into. I'm not going to leave these up here. I might refer to this just to spark the conversation. I'll leave it up for a minute. But before we even get into this, is there anything in particular somebody here wants to talk about? Are any of you running into a particular problem or challenge around a new member benefit that you're introducing to members?
Dave,
Yeah.
this isn't a new member benefit, but we've seen our career center usage drop off. And if there's time, I'd just be interested in whether other associations offer a career center and what are you seeing in terms of usage?
You know what? Why don't we start there? And you were the first one to speak up. Let's reward that. So, anybody have a career center?
Yeah, I am less involved with it since we have an external company that runs it. But based on our income, I would say our engagement has gone up significantly in the last 2 years. Before that, we had a huge drop. But yeah, psychiatry. I don't know how it applies across the board.
When you say your engagement in it has gone down, do you mean from the job seekers or from the employers or both?
I would say both. And my theory is that our members are mining engineers. And right now there's a huge shortage of them. So I almost wonder if people who are job seeking just get snapped up right away.
That's definitely possible. I don't know what the general turnover is in that field, but they may be getting snapped up a lot of times once you're like, my members are aerospace professionals, and after the first job or two, they don't apply for jobs. They know people and that's how it happened. So we're big on entry level stuff, and after that, it peters way down.
Laura, are you saying you've seen a change in behavior, or you're trying to just boost participation?
We are just seeing, we promote the heck out of our career center to our members, and we have just seen a drop off over the last year in the employers who are posting jobs and also the job seekers. So I haven't delved really far into it. It just seems like people, maybe just job seekers overall, don't use these career centers like they used to. But Anna, it sounds like in your industry, your career center is pretty well used.
And I'm really looking at from the perspective of employers posting, because I don't often check job seekers just because it's externally run and we do not promote it as much directly.
What
Let me ask a different question. I'm sorry, go ahead, Brian.
I was just gonna say, one thing we did, and we're probably gonna do it again, is working with our Career Center platform, we did a kind of a resume push for people to upload their resumes, and there was you do that and then you get entered in a drawing for a gift card, but it netted us a lot of resumes about 2 years ago, and we were going to try again.
Yeah, and Laura, one thing I would recommend too is just asking your members like where they're getting their career information from, because it just might be that they have a different resource that they're using. And so then you're just pushing out information that might not be too relevant to them.
Okay, this is helpful. Thank you, everybody.
All right, again, I'm happy to just ask this straight up a question from our question list, but are there any challenges you're faced with around implementing a new benefit to your organization? Who has, let me ask a different question. Who has in the past year or so introduced a new benefit to the organization?
We've added LinkedIn Learning, online, online learning through webinars and courses and things like that.
Explain to me, what is LinkedIn Learning versus just adding new webinars?
Because we couldn't keep up with the content that was needed, like to provide professional development content, things like that. So I don't know if you've ever gone on LinkedIn Learning and taken any of their courses, but they have courses from leadership, mentorship, professional development courses, even more technical courses like IT training classes, things like that, like thousands of classes. And that we rolled that out as a member benefit. And it works really well in terms of, the support is fantastic, but it's not inexpensive. And we show participation in the 25% range now. And initially it was a little bit higher, but now it's not as high. So I just, wondered if anyone else was using that as a member benefit and what sort of experience they were having with it.
I'm not familiar with it. That's really interesting. Sounds like nobody else is using it either. 25%'s really good engagement rate for a benefit like that, isn't it?
Yes, that's what they tell us, that we're a star customer, but the problem is that it's just really expensive. So the benefit is like $40 a member or something like that.
And what's your membership dues? What did people pay on average?
Probably on average about $125, $130.
Wow. Yeah. So that's a huge chunk of their dues is
Yeah,
going to this.
yeah, and we're offering it you know, to students, and their dues are like $35, students and postdocs and, you know, younger people. So we're trying to
So
offer
literally
just over
investing.
here, but
Yeah.
students sneak in, you know.
So
And
how
it's
do
not,
you,
you feel really good about it when you get people who are like really engaged and really doing it. And they're like, oh my gosh, this has been fantastic. I love learning online and at my own pace and blah, blah, blah. And other people are like, I don't have time. I don't have time. You know, we all, I'm sure all of us sign up for webinars with every intention of going back and watching them, but you just run out of time.
how do you
So,
measure that 25%? What is that actually measuring?
it measures the people that actually complete courses. So not just starting
Wow.
them, but actually completing them. I'm sorry, completing classes, not courses, because courses could be multiple webinars,
Yeah.
but like our webinars generally range from about 30 minutes to 50 minutes, or not ours, LinkedIn Learnings that they develop it. Now we've just started, and I don't know how this is going to go. Like we have webinars, our own webinars, from distinguished lecturers that we're now putting into the platform, because you can put in any webinar you want of your own in addition to theirs. And then we you know, so we're just rolling that in, putting in some technical training of our own in our field, and we'll see if that increases engagement. But you know, right now it's just very expensive, and we're only able to offer right now about 500 licenses. So that is prohibitive.
So if we can just drill down on this is a good example of something that will raise some interesting questions. Like, how do you measure the ROI on that? If you're spending, am I doing my math right, $20,000? So 500 times 40?
Anyway,
That's-
I feel like that's maybe private information to LinkedIn Learning, but yes, it's very
Yeah.
expensive.
Okay. So, but if you're, let's go back to the main question though, which is around ROI. How do you know whether or not the organization is driving more revenue in the form of renewals or new member?
Okay, well, I do that. I had checked that last year. Not as closely as I should have, but our renewal cycle runs October 1 to October 1. And we had like a 10% increase. Those people renewed by January 15, let's say, roughly 10% higher than our average people who had not engaged in the class. So
Interesting.
it,
Yeah.
you know, but the people that were engaging in the class, and that we were targeting, not just them, but they were that average dues rate is more like $50. So I'm not
Janet,
sure.
Janet, Janet, did you have a control of where you weren't offering it to anyone? So you can see if it was just the people that are engaging are also your most engaged members, right? Like,
No, they are definitely not our most engaged members, because we eliminated people that were already more engaged, right? Like committee members, things like that. We're trying to get people who are less engaged and get them more engaged.
Any other questions for Janet in this interrogation?
Yeah. As I said, I mean, I know another big association out there uses it, and they had much less engagement than we did, like more like 2%. And they were like thrilled with it. And it's like, okay.
2%. Wow. Yeah, 25% seems really good. How
Yeah,
big
but they
was
have a lot more money than we do. So.
and you said 500. No, 500 participants.
I have 500 licenses to use per
Okay.
year.
Okay. Let's go on to another benefit. Does anybody else have a benefit that they introduced that did quite well? Or if you're open to being a little vulnerable, a benefit that did not do so well? And you pulled the plug on it.
I'll be glad to go and I'm gonna cheat and say that I'll give you example of something that I think did well but also didn't do well, right? So we have 39,000 members, right? And we introduced a legislative update, a regular legislative update to our members from our advocacy team and some other special guests. And those who attend tend to rave about it. But we have, maybe we would consider a giant success if 200 people attended, a legislative update. And they're virtual, they're hour long, we have them quarterly. But this isn't just unique to this legislative update that we introduced. Most of our member benefits, we find that we're talking to a very select few, and it's not just our board members. It could be other people that are just interested in taking part. But people say they don't know about. They tend to say they don't know about our benefits, or we communicate too much about our benefits, or but really what we know is people are busy, and unless we're their priority, they're not going to necessarily consider it. But glad to hear, Brian. I see your hands up.
Yeah, I just about that communication on the benefits. I had done a membership satisfaction survey about a year ago. And one of the things that came up, we asked them, how do you feel we communicate about our benefits? And overall, it was good. But then when we broke it down by age, older members felt that we communicated enough about our benefits and that they knew what our benefits were. And newer members, who also tend to be younger members, felt that they didn't know enough about our benefits and that we didn't communicate enough about them. And so one of the things we've done is kind of added a second and third year of onboarding so that we can reintroduce the benefits to them, because we all send these emails to them when they join right away, and if they're not looking for that at that particular time, it goes in one eye and out the other, and then they don't even know that we offer it. And then 3 years later, like, I wish you guys had this, and we're like, we do. Why don't you read the emails we sent?
And do you mentioned the second and third year onboarding? I assume you have also regular reminders, or do you just rely on on the onboarding cycle?
I mean, things come out of like that allude to things, but there are things that they won't think about unless it's something they need at that particular time.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that onboarding over a period of time, I like to think reinforces the original message. And so that when the time does come up, they're like, oh yeah, I saw something about that. It just started, so I have no data yet.
I'll tell you, our organization has, when COVID hit, we went from being an organization of networking. I'm gonna use the word networking, but everyone hates the word networking, right? An organization of networking and community, I guess, is a better word, to an organization that does a lot of webcasts. And we did a lot of we had a lot of conversations with members and former members, and what we learned was that they don't want to sit in a lecture all the time. We're an organization of CPAs, so they have to do a lot of learning, and they do sit in a lot of lectures. But they the reason why they want to they're not joining Cal CPA to learn from us because they can learn from anyone. They're joining Cal CPA because they want to learn from each other and be and not just technically, right? They want to learn a lot of things. So we're trying to figure out how to get back to that, both at the broader state level, and then individual at the local level. But even though we introduce those things, the only way they're successful, only way a community is successful, is if people hear it and are willing to engage with it.
Hey, Craig, this is in reference to your legislative updates. Now let me preface this by saying I'm a lover. I'm an emotional person. I cry when I watch Disney movies. And so with all that said, I have a question for you. Would you rather eat hydrolyzed collagen? I Googled this. Would you rather eat hydrolyzed collagen or Jello?
Probably hydrolyzed collagen because it sounds like a trick question.
No, I mean, I think there's some people that you're probably right. They want to know what they're eating. People like me, people that cry when they watch Moana, like I want to eat Jello. Like hydrolyzed collagen makes me nervous, and so this is just
Jello
my
gives me the jitters. Oh, look at that! I just brought it back like a joke.
dad jokes. Yep. My only point there is like the word legislation or legislative gives me the shivers, and it just makes me not want to be part of that at all. And
It's not. We don't
maybe
call it
it's a
legislative
stupid.
updates. They're called capital beat, and yeah,
Oh,
they have a
it's
more
like
fun way.
Jello. There you go. Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
but I figured you guys wouldn't know what a capital beat was.
No, good point. That's the Jello. That's what that is.
Yeah, it's branded.
We're trying to come up with, well, I'm interested in coming up with more, how do I put it, branded names for some of the product offerings we have as opposed to like website engagement. So yeah, I should take my own advice. Eat my own Jello, as they say. All right, let's go back to the topic for today. I'm going to shut down this hydrolyzed tab I have open. Anybody else roll out a benefit that worked or did not work? I kind of like this direction we're going in.
We just rolled out, we don't know whether it's going to work or not work, to be completely honest. We just rolled out last month our mentor match program, which is something that our students and our entire membership was asking for. But I am disappointed that in the month that we've been advertising, sending out emails and posting it on the website and sharing it on social media, we only have 60 folks signed up. And that is, that's not even 10%, it's not the 10% that we thought, oh, immediately they're going to jump on it because they've been asking for years. Now, the Mentor Match program, it facilitates one-on-one mentoring relationships for any aspect members at all career levels. So in the
professional association.
I'm sorry, I
am looking to see. I had gone to a class and I don't recall ever receiving proof of that sent to me in the mail.
I think that's
I think she's taking a call, needs to be muted.
Hold on.
Yeah.
there we go. Thank you. Sorry, Jennifer.
No problem. So I know it's new and we probably just need to change or wait. I think people have been concerned with other things, especially this month, to pay attention to that. But I was hoping that we could at least get 10%. We have 4,000 members, and as much as they were requesting it and excited about it, it was in all of our surveys that this is something they wanted. I'm just not seeing them jump on it. I'm a little disappointed, but I'm hoping that with time, more folks will sign up.
What tactics have you guys used to get members to embrace benefits, generally speaking? What tactics? I mean, very often we send out an email, maybe in a newsletter.
We do that. Send out emails, newsletter. We did have a webinar to introduce the Mentor Match and show them the platform, how it works. We reached out to our committee members who are champions for a lot of our committees. And hoping that they could encourage students and other committee members to participate and become either mentors or mentees. I mean, at this point, that's all we've done so far.
Our membership organization does something similar. And don't know if we have the data on if this helps or not, but we have been around established for over 100 years, and our leadership initiative is launched on a yearly base. So even though because we have a rolling membership, so I think it appeals to a lot of people that they know, even if they're not able to sign up for this one, there's one 6 months later that they can sign up for. So it's all in once, because sometimes people are hesitant to sign up for a timing situation. And if they're not available right now, that's simply the reason. It's just the time doesn't work for them, and there's no way to get feedback on that. And so for our membership initiative, we always, when we launch it for our season, we include both dates that they'll be able to be looped into the membership, because we do 2 calls for applications.
Something I've noticed is getting the attention of your members is difficult. I'm basing this on my experience in working. You guys all know I do not work for an association. I work for Prop Fuel. But in our work with associations, my experience is that a major frustration with engagement is you guys send out these emails and then people say, I didn't know about that. Like a great example would be when you try to get people to renew and then they become a lapsed member, and you ask them, like, did you know you lapsed? And literally half of them say, I didn't know we lapsed, after you sent them a dozen emails, right? So Brian's laughing. So the same, like, what would make you think that half of the people that didn't sign up aren't even seeing this? Now I'm going to go into my little soapbox. I talked to one of my physical therapists, and forgive me if you've heard this story from me before, but I talked to a physical therapist and I asked him if he was part of APTA, and he said not anymore. There was nothing in it for him. He didn't get any benefits out of it. I was just blown away, because like APTA, like a lot of you guys, offers these amazing things to their members. I mean, Jennifer, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you work for American Society for Pharmacological and Experimental Therapeutics.
Yes.
Super niche, right? You can't tell me that association, you're not offering phenomenal expertise to your members. Like, it's awesome. What I've seen the biggest mistake a lot of associations do is they're just constantly spraying information out to everyone. Best case scenario, segmenting things. Like, Brian, you talked about treating young people with one kind of style and old people with another kind of style. And my philosophy in what I'm spending my career doing right now is trying to help stop thinking about segments and groups as much as what do individuals want. So rather than sending this huge email with 50 links, which is what APTA did, and that's why my physical therapist decided to leave, he didn't have the time or the desire or the interest to scroll through that to find the things that would be interesting to him, like Mentor Match or collagen, whatever, collagen webinars, whatever it is Craig was offering, legislative updates. So I'm getting derailed here. Point is, like, that's where I think this whole concept of trying to create a personalized exchange with your members, however you do that, however you want to do that, that's what allows you to find the match between the benefits that you have and the individual needs that are ever changing. Very difficult to do, especially with a spray and pray sort of approach.
I know for us, we launched a best practice guide that affects probably 45 to 50% of our members for the most part, maybe 45%.
Sorry, what association?
So Specialized Carriers and Rigging Association, our member companies do over-the-road heavy haul. So whenever you see this thing that says oversized load and/or crane and rigging operations. So go to any type of a construction site, you'll probably find one of our members. Within that, though, and our members drive what things we launch by way of involvement in committees and things like that. But whenever we launch something, email, social media, phone campaigns, call, whatever the case may be, our engagement levels are minimal. And we keep hearing back from them, as I think we've all expressed, keep sending us emails. That's the best way to communicate with us. We actually did a survey coming out of our last in-person meeting asking, hey, can we text you this information? Would you be open to that? And they overwhelmingly said no. They want it. I think they want the right to selectively turn a blind eye, right? Oh, I never got it. Oh, I missed your dues invoice. Can you give me 60 more days to pay? Oh, I missed your new member benefit. Can you give it to me outside of this? Or can you figure out a way to get, it's almost like they're not going to do any extra work, but they want you to do the work for you. It's kind of like, hey, I joined the gym. Can you get on the treadmill for me? And then expect me to lose 20 pounds for you on their behalf on the treadmill. And when they say there's no benefit to the gym, you're going, you never hopped on the treadmill once on your own. And I don't know if you all have dealt with that too, or how you break past that beyond forwarding the 30 emails you sent to them about something back to them, and then them going, oh, well, just send it to me now. Thanks. I guess we're all on that same canoe.
So Jason, something that I learned and that we're trying to implement, and we've had success as we've implemented it, but it's not easy. So I work with CPAs, right? Like that's our members are CPAs, and we've created a firm ambassador program. So within the offices, we have ambassadors on behalf of our organization that will encourage people to take part in things. Because what we learn is that when people do get involved, it's not because we've asked them to get involved or to come to something, it's because someone they know has done it. And we're trying to find other ways because we can't just do firm ambassadors. That's an inefficient way of doing it. Find other ways. So one thing that actually came up in a focus group that we did that I thought was interesting. It was a young member who said that they wouldn't consider going to an event unless they knew somebody there or at least recognized somebody. And what they would recommend is if we were having a conversation about an app, like introducing an app, and she said, if you can just do like a carpooling section of the app. So if there's an event, if you can, if there can be a carpooling. So I know I'm going to an event and Jason happens to live close to me and we ride together. I know at least I have an ally when I go in for the first time, and I know somebody. So we're trying to spread it further than just those ambassadors, but it seems like we haven't been that successful with it yet, but it seems like the special sauce that we're pursuing is getting peers to be the ones that are asking.
I think that's, for us at least, that's the only ray of sunshine in all of it, is that members take action based upon us telling us another member telling them to do something, or hey, you're missing out, or hey, we're making money and you're not, or we're better than you are because of what we've got access to. And how do you do that in a way that, or how do you encourage them to do that in a way that doesn't make them feel like it's taking all of their time? Or when you've got 5, 10, 15 new items or 15 new newsletter articles, how do you not, you run out of tears quick, you run out of skin to give so fast now that how do you, I think that's where I mean, again, we see 70% of our new members by way of word of mouth. The other 30 kind of stumble upon our website or stumble upon something we're doing on social media, and it's probably 20% of that. But that's kind of the, again, how do you motivate someone to do something beyond, well, let me rephrase that too. I can't even put a video up of other people saying how good something is to get them to do it. It's got to directly come from that person's email address to go to them, and not even from a spoofed email like of ours. If we're saying, chairman, take a look at this, it's got to come out of their inbox, for them to do something. And maybe that's a trick. If Tom Jones is your board chair, the email's got to be Tom Jones at I don't know, like,
I think
maybe that's an idea, because they sure ignore anything that says, the name of your association, but the minute you put it as an individual's name or the individual's name that they know and love, they'll at least take a look at it. And you can't get too fancy with it, because then they know it's a blast, so to speak.
there are, I think, a couple of societal changes that have happened over the past decade and a half that I think are really impact all of this. One is our attention spans have gotten shorter. The other is people are used to getting things in different ways than they previously got them. And the third is, and this goes more than a decade, but the internet has really opened up things, and people can do things more and more without associations. And so we really do need to be offering more of that white glove service, which takes a lot more time on our end, but it saves the time for them. And so it's, what can we do? Like, how is that scalable? It's not right now, but I think that's really a thing that we're looking at, is how do we get them what they need when they need it without burning ourselves out.
100%.
I want to challenge something you said and take that on to continue that back to making it relevant to this group. You said our attention spans are shorter. That may be true at a very marginal level. I remember back in the 80s when MTV came out, they told us we had attention spans of a goldfish. Now they're saying it's less than a goldfish. But I mean, I don't believe that. I believe our attention spans are just fine. I read an Ayn Rand book once. It's pretty hard to read. So like the question is, though, how do you break through all the noise? Our filters have become really, really good. So it's not that our attention spans are bad, it's that our filters have been really good. We are all really, really good at eliminating the stuff that's not relevant. And so when you send out, I saw somebody ask a question, Katrin asked a question, our newsletter is effective. Happy to go back to that. But what happens in newsletters is you put 50 links in there, you put all these things, it's super generalized. Now, if you're really into that organization, then that's relevant to you. Otherwise, it's a delete. And what we're doing is we train people not to read our stuff because everything you send is kind of generalized. And so if you can give me something that's super relevant to me, so like if you can give me something about boating, or sailing, or specifically growing a business or getting new customers, like I'm in. I'm going to read it. And you got all of my attention. So
How
the
often
question, how do you do
how
that?
often do you watch something on TV or a movie without picking up your phone?
That's a tough question. I do pick up my phone sometimes, but there's times when I'm completely invested in the movie. For example, if I go to a movie theater, I never pick up my phone. Like I never look at my phone in a movie theater. If I was watching Presumed Innocent, amazing in show, I don't pick up my phone there because I'm totally invested in it. If I'm watching Moana, I admit I'm going to pick up my phone. So it depends on how relevant that movie is to me or that show is to me. There's the answer.
I think the other part of that too is it's like, but people, as you're saying with the book you read, I think people will watch a 20, 30, 40, listen to a 50-minute podcast vlog. I mean, I have
Joe Rogan, Jesus,
YouTube,
3 hours.
yeah, right.
Listen to
I
him.
have YouTube folks that I follow religiously, and as soon as they post something, it's let me carve out 30 minutes to watch that.
Yeah.
But
Why?
Because I trust the independent person more than watching ESPN for my Washington Commanders content, because they'll tell you truly that they suck, when they do, not the, oh, well, if they just tune this one a little bit more and it'll be fine next week and please watch us and spend money. No, they were terrible. Like it's a person, it's a human, and not a regurgitated marketing message. Maybe that's what it is.
Now we're starting to get to innovation and new product ideas like that. That's a really fascinating concept. I always wondered why you people, association people, don't align yourselves with influencers in your space that have that draw to people.
They're expensive.
I'm actually doing that
As much
now.
as I would love to have Mike Rowe do everything we do, right?
I know, right?
I don't want to boost our members' dues up by that much because they'd start asking questions.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So, I think this is related, and it's related to what Jason was alluding to earlier about how much credibility you get. You know, if your logo is on it, it has the least amount of credibility. If it's coming directly from the consumer, or from a peer, it has better credibility. One thing that I actually just brought up yesterday to some people at work was a lot of our so the consumer nowadays, I don't remember the last time I've bought something where I didn't look at a review, right? Like where you see the number of stars, you open it up and you look at reviews, and then the AI at the top, like, summarizes it all for you, and then you go in and you dig in a little deeper. We don't have that with our membership, with our benefits, right? Like if, for example, those legislative updates that I was talking about earlier, if people that attended had great things to say and we allowed them to do reviews, and they were truly unbiased reviews, maybe more people would come on, if they happen to be on our website and we're looking at like what types of benefits do I want to take part in, maybe they would actually participate if they knew it was coming directly from an unbiased consumer.
I've seen some success too in posting things on social media and either tagging the company and tagging the individual, because sometimes that'll force them to either share it for you to their broader network, or they're going to go, wait, what did you tag me in, and actually read it. Especially as you're saying with an influencer, we have some major companies that are members of ours, and if we tag them, we'll hit their subscriber base, which is 10 times as large as ours in some cases. So, but it's almost like you have to do the work for them because they're not gonna take any steps to do the work on your behalf.
We've got, we're 15 minutes before the hour. Has this sparked any questions for you guys? Yeah.
Well, for
Mm.
Jason said, I will say that we do have, after an event, we are, host events. That's our main thing. So many people will post on LinkedIn, repost our things that this was so amazing, but then it's such a struggle getting people to come to the event initially. So we have all this great, stuff for afterwards, but beforehand trying to utilize that. So that was a good, inspiration moment. But one question I have is getting users or members to utilize benefits that have been around forever, or even tools of your own CRM. We have individual memberships, and then we also have corporate memberships where we usually communicate with one person, but the person who's receiving the benefits can also like register for events themselves, and no one seems to know what's going on. And it's a lot of questions on us just doing stuff for members versus them doing it on their own when they have the capabilities. And that's comes with being a 100-year-old organization. You have people who have been there for a while, but if anyone has any tips on how they communicate that and actually get their members to utilize the tools that we have for them.
Any additional thoughts?
We struggle with this too. So I wish I could help you because I could help myself too. So
Hi, it's Lily. Oh, sorry if someone else was going to speak. I was going to respond. Hey, Dave. Hey, everybody. Sorry, I'm kind of in and out, but I have that issue. We're an HR association called PIRA, and we have an HR, online HR compliance center, and I do struggle with getting utilization out of that. So it hasn't been as successful as I would like, but what we've done is done at least 3 or 4 demos of the product and invite everybody throughout the year, and we record those demos. So we record different aspects of the platform. So there's a employee handbook builder. We go through all that. There's a enterprise learning system. We go through all that in a demo. And then there's other things. So with the recordings, we also shoot that out, but that is an ongoing struggle. So just kind of demoing it. I also have invited volunteers. We have 18 chapters. So coming from the Girl Scouts model, I try to do as much through our volunteers as possible. But I've even gotten, so to have them demo it so they can talk about it when they're face to face with members. But that's even a struggle to get them to do those sorts of things. But I feel your pain. Those are some of the things we've done.
I sensed a little bit of frustration because you're trying to get your members to do stuff to well, you're trying to get them to engage, right? Like that's the big word. Trying to get them engaged, and it's like you're force feeding them. I heard some comments about like yeah, I don't remember the exact comments, but basically like babysitting them, force feeding your members. How do you, when you start to feel yourself getting resentful, and maybe you don't, but like when you start to feel yourself feeling like it's us versus them, us versus the members, how do you turn that around? See, I told you I'm a lover. How do you turn that around to so that you're serving your membership instead of fighting them?
I know for me, it comes back down to every now and then you get an email from somebody that says, you saved my butt, or, you know, the impact of what you've done, or they shoot you a photo of it actually being in use, or you get a really good testimonial, or maybe you see somebody like for us, I saw a crane up probably a mile away from one of our members working on a cell phone tower. And you're like, maybe something we put out has kept somebody alive today, or maybe something we put out has helped the cell phone service in my own backyard, right? That's at least for me how it comes back around. But yeah, there are days where you feel like you are doing nothing but trying to force feed a toddler peas with the airplane spoon, you know, and it is no, I don't want these peas all day long.
I'd be curious, does anybody feel like it's a constant battle and you get exhausted doing this? Or do you guys all have similar feelings like it's just part of the job and I'm cool with it? Like I have good days and bad days.
I think it's just part of the job, because sometimes I'll even get frustrated at members who are trying to help because they're trying to help in the, you know, wrong way. And so it's just part of like, you know, we're all people, we're all human. We go through emotional cycles.
I also think that as morbid this might sound, but we're not saving lives, remembering that our job, while it is important and this is our job, that we're doing the best that we can, and ultimately we're helping our members as best as we can, and they're doing the best that they can, but no one's going to die over not getting an email or not renewing their membership. So it's kind of making it more not as intense, I guess, is what I'm
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah.
I have the
I like
same.
to think it's not brain surgery, right?
Yep.
It's not life or death, it's not brain surgery. And yeah, there are going to be some people who need their hands held or need white glove service, and you pat them on your head, you have an extra drink at the end of the night, and you call it. So
while you say people are not going to die from not reading an email, that's actually one of the new benefits. Well, lends to one of the new benefits that we just released for the Home Builders Association. We have signed up with a third-party app to help address suicide and substance abuse amongst home builders. So that is a new benefit that I've been working on for the past year or so, trying to get the awareness out and get people to actively sign up for this app. It's not therapy, it's more of a self-guided way to figure out what issues you're dealing with and how to seek help. So I hear you saying when like the majority of what we do is not, you know, life or death, but some of the stuff is for me a very important piece growing up in the industry. So I've got a few notes here on what I want to try and do to try and create that opportunity for those that are, if they're not physically on the job site, they're not making money. So how do I get in touch with those guys? Those are the people I'm having a problem getting a hold of. But I did actually have a question for the audience here. Has anybody used social media for like targeted ads to display these new members, new member benefits, or to just even get the membership opportunity out to a segment of the audience that you're looking at?
I mean, first, that sounds like a great program. And if that's a higher rate within your industry, that's really important to have. In terms of the targeted ads, yeah, we do that for, I've targeted lapsed members to win them back based on, email addresses and having targeting things that I don't understand because our marketing team handles that. But I've also done what we call lookalike campaigns that kind of like take attributes of our members and then find other people on the web and follow them in that way. I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I can, if you want to reach out, I can find those and talk with our marketing team and get that information for you.
Topher,
That would be interesting, yeah.
And we've done it for benefits, services, meetings, membership, and it's probably the second or third leading generator of business development on our end. So it's worked for us in construction, I guess is my point.
Yeah, Topher, I think one of the questions would be, is your audience on social media? So if they are, then there's a good chance they would see it. But if they're not actually using Facebook or Instagram or X, whatever it may be, it might work for other people. But if your primary target audience isn't using it, then it might not work.
And remember, paid social is obvious that it's paid social. So your best use of social would be if people are using your benefits, encouraging them to post and help them build their network and encourage them to post about it, because then you have a third party validation recommendation.
Very helpful. I appreciate it.
I've dabbled in, or some organizations I work with have dabbled in digital marketing. Not associations. The only association that we've come close to is Entrepreneurs Organization. But in Prop Fuel, we've done some LinkedIn paid advertising. And my son has a business called Kona Brand. He makes Hawaiian flannels. Pretty cool. And I mean, that's a consumer product, and he's using digital marketing. And it shocks me how difficult it is. You would think like, oh, let's just get in front of people on social media. Like, let's post an ad and do lookalikes or get a really targeted list and pay for it and get in front of them, and people will click on it, and then you're selling shirts or you're selling programs or whatever. And it's amazing how low the conversion rates are. There's my uplifting feedback. All right. Unless there's any other comment, let me ask this, any other comments before we wrap? This is a great conversation. Thank you. You guys were really engaged and participatory today, and that's what makes these interesting. Is this format working well? Any suggestions? And if you don't want to say it here, you can send me an email. Any suggestions how we can make these more valuable? Would smaller groups be better, groups of 4 or 5, or do you like having 15 or 20 in a discussion?
I think this size is great. And I would have said you could gauge our interest in where we want to go in advance, but we're all so busy, we wouldn't actually respond before we got on the call.
Yeah.
Meaning, Craig, when you say gauge your interest, meaning on the topic?
Yeah, so in the beginning, Dave had that sort of PowerPoint slide that said, which area of this would you like to explore? Yeah, he could have done it before, but none of us would have responded.
Yeah. Talk about low engagement.
Are there, again, I want to end before the hour. Does anybody have a topic that they think would do really well in this group? Anything you want to discuss? Topic poll, maybe. Yeah, we can send out a topic poll, but let's start here. Anything you guys are struggling with in your organization that you want your peers' feedback on from a membership perspective? mean, the very common ones are renewals, lapse or win back,
Win back.
or onboarding.
I mean, I would say for me, renewals, particularly around students or converting students to young professional and professional members. My renewals are good in general, but students are very transactional with us. And when they graduate, they will graduate and then they will come back 3, 4, 5 years later, and I'd rather just keep them straight through.
I was going to suggest that topic as well. The biggest loss we experience is between trainees and early career professionals.
Brittany, did we do a session on students yet?
Not student specific, no. I'm gonna post a webinar recording that we have too on just like nurturing student members as they transition into the workforce. But yeah, that would be a good topic for next time.
All right. And maybe we'll send a poll with the other topics so we can plan ahead for the beginning of next year. Are we doing something in December or are we gonna wait till January, Brittany?
No, we'll do something in December. We'll send an email out after this. It'll be December 16th, so save the date. And then it looks like, yeah, onboarding, retention and engagement, retention and win back, and students.
I know some of these we did in this group already. I know some people might have missed them. Do we record these, Robson? So, do we have like a place where we host them?
We host them on YouTube. We don't upload or
Can they get them through the Prop Fuel resources page or something?
I believe not, because we don't want to merge membership masterminds with Prop Fuel, but we can come up with a place for them.
All right, we'll figure that out. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Thanks for participating.